Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here today with Olof of Enforcer to talk about Live by Fire DOS, out March 19th on Nuclear Blast. How's it going?
Pretty all right with me. How are you doing, man?
Not bad, not bad. Thanks for taking the time today to chat about this upcoming live record.
No worries, man. Pleasure's mine.
Before we get deep into this album, let me ask you a couple of questions regarding live records. What makes a live album a great live album?
When you can characterize the songs in a good way, I think, and you can like make the songs perhaps a little bit more alive compared to a studio version. And also you can integrate the audience and take the listener to the place, to the actual concert, at least in mind. I would say that there's a few things that makes a live record a good one.
Do you have any favorite live albums? Are you a fan of live records in general?
Not so much actually, but for me, this but I'm a fan of live videos, you know, that takes you to the concert for real, and that's also why this is going to be released as a video primarily, I would say, if you ask me.
So it gives everybody a chance to see the band perform live and also a chance to hear the band live. And for those that obviously were not lucky enough to be there, it allows us to get that time capsule of what the experience was on that night.
Exactly.
Are we living a time where these live records are a lot more meaningful than they were before?
It depends on what band does it. I think you can do it in a good way, and I think you can do it in a bad way. I think it's too easy to fake these days. And I think that, unfortunately, that too many bands rely on a little bit too much editing and post-production, which make not so interesting in my opinion. And that's why we decided to stay away from that to as much as we can. And I mean, try to make it true and try to make it like both sounding good, but also, and find the balance between a good sound, but also a authentic sound.
When I was listening to this album, I felt like this was almost a hybrid. You know what I mean? Like it sounded almost as good as a studio recording, but at the same time, it still had the energy of a live performance because you could hear the fans, you could hear the people, you could hear everything that's going on.
Yeah, that's the plan. It's been very grateful mixing this because we use mostly in-ears these days, and we are able to keep like the stage volume really low so that you don't have much bleed between the instruments, so you can like process the drums really hard without like just amplifying all the bleed, which is pretty cool actually. So it's very grateful to mix. You can almost like have the mindset mixing this as a studio album, which was one of the goals actually, to have like a very powerful sound, a more powerful sound than any other live records, or I think, at least if you ask me. I haven't heard any live records sounding that full, I think.
It's definitely one of the key characteristics of this album, and it was the first thing that I noticed was how rich the sound was, because sometimes when you listen to a live album, the drums overpower the guitars, or the guitars overpower the drums, or the vocalist is hidden in the mix. You could barely listen to the vocalist, or the vocalist is all the way in the front and you can't hear anything else. I felt like you guys did a perfect balance of everything, because you could hear everything and then you can hear everything together as one.
I didn't tweet this mix as a live mix. I didn't want it to sound. Of course, I wanted it to sound authentic, but not necessarily like a live record. Because, you know, I'm listening to other like bands live recordings these days. It feels almost like they've been trying to make them thinner and dirtier just to make them sound more authentic. But I think the authenticity, is that a word?
Authenticity.
Oh yeah, thanks. That, for example, that lies in the playing and not necessarily in the sound for me.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
What about Mexico City that made this a special performance and drove you guys to have it recorded there?
I think it was much of an opportunity that couldn't be missed. it was we had this show coming up. We knew that we had a lot of people coming out to the show. We had the possibility of doing a full headline show. It was a venue that was like reasonably good and representative for the band. We could do whatever we wanted. We could film it. We had like a possibility to bring out a fairly good film crew, and we could record the audio. And it was just like so many opportunities that was like, and also like the audience of Mexico is truly one of a kind. It's very, people are very enthusiastic, so we can use like the audience as a part of almost like an instrument, or like to really use the audience.
When I was listening to the album, you were like pumping the crowd up. Mexico City, let's make sure everybody can hear you guys across the continent, and those kind of things that really get the crowd going. Do you ever forget when you're on stage the city there you're on, and you're like, and you say the wrong city's name? Has it ever happened?
Oh yeah, I think I mixed up Houston and Austin at some point. Like on our first.
At least you're in the same area. Houston and Austin, they're in Texas. At least you're in Texas.
Yeah. Now I know the difference. But the first time we toured Texas, it was like, oh, and I didn't even realize it was our bass player that came up to me and looked like he looked like he was gonna kill me or something. But and it's like, Austin. No, actually it was Houston. It's like, Houston, for fuck's sake. It's like, oh, sorry. Because I think he thought it was embarrassing.
it's always the cliche, right? Like you go up and you try to get the crowd on your side. Not that they're not on your side, but you want to get that extra juices flowing. And I always felt like with so many things happening, like for you, when you hit the stage, the name of the city sometimes could become a blur, and you forget exactly where you are. I mean, especially when you're on tour, stopping in so many cities.
Yeah, no, I mean the stage banters gets kind of routine after a while, but I've been fucking it up so much. It's so I think that's so much harder than what it is to actually play and sing. I mean, to come up with reasonable things to say to the audience. So I've been saying so many. I mean, and I had so many brain freezes where I just like where it just came out nothing. It's like just because I get so like I don't know, insecure about what to say and how to say things. I get like, you can't think. You just has to flow.
And knowing that you're going on and you're going to be recording this for posterity, so people will be able to see exactly how the performance was.
Yeah.
Does that make you feel like you have to do more of that? It's not just about your playing. It's not just about the singing. It's not just about the performance. That you have to do a little bit extra between a song here and there.
I think I had in mind that something like, whatever happens, I can like fix it later. Luckily, we didn't have to fix so many things later.
So at least you went in knowing, like, you know what, we can always post edit this stuff if I say Bangladesh or something like that.
Yeah. At least it's a possibility, even though it should be kept to an absolute minimum. Yeah.
Since you guys were already going into this knowing that you're going to be recording, did that affect the set list that you guys put together for this record?
No, this was like the tour set list, more or less.
So nothing really changed. I mean, do you feel like this is like a greatest hits of the band? Obviously, there's a little bit more emphasis on the songs from the latest record, but do you feel like this is a good representation, a different way of releasing a greatest hits?
It's a good representation of what we are in 2019 when this was recorded. But still, we haven't really played much shows since that because of circumstances.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
From the first live record that you guys released to this one, what do you see the main changes that had happened from one performance to the other?
We're a billion times better in all aspects, I would say. Not only like playing wise, but as a live band, we're so much more entertaining, I think, now. We must have done something like 300-400 shows since we recorded the previous live album. So we get so much more we're so much more professionals now, I think. Sound wise, performing wise, we're more relaxed. We have, and especially we have so much better better songs now though that we had like when we recorded the first one. I think like the two past records of ours are probably the ones that at least we ourselves are the most satisfied with the outcome. So better songs, better playing, everything is just better. It's like, yeah.
Was it a better experience overall as well, recording this one in Mexico versus the previous one in Japan?
The previous one was so stressed out because there was like half an hour slot at the festival. So, but this was like a full headline proper show where we could actually do all the transitions that we do and like keep somewhat of a dynamics to the songs and, you know, build it up and take it down and, you know, just play around with the entire dramaturgy of the show, which makes it more interesting, I think, also.
I saw you guys live in Toronto during the 2019 tour with Warbringer. And one of the things that I took from that show was how tight you guys were in a live performance, like just really like almost no room for error across the whole entire set. And then listening to this live performance now, I got the same feeling. It's kind of hard to listen to a band twice live and not find mistakes. Like, you guys are super tight. Is that something that you're very proud of? Like, when you guys perform live, people get what they paid for?
I hope to give people what they paid for, otherwise they won't come back. But of course, when you get paid for something, you also have to deliver. But I mean, I think that's just a result of so many shows that we've been doing throughout the years. You know, it's such a routine, you know, and we're so much more relaxed being on stage now compared to a couple of years ago when it was like almost like a stress moment. And when you went on stage, I used to be so much filled up with adrenaline, like in the first couple of years, but you know, with all the routine and you know, it doesn't get quite as much adrenaline, and you can actually focus on playing well and actually entertain well instead of just being on stage like high on adrenaline and you just get like stiff, you know.
Yeah, I can
yeah
do that.
yeah
Every record comes with some challenges. The studio albums have their own, you know, their own inner workings, their own challenges that comes to it in terms of coming into the studio and recording. What are the main challenges that you see when you set yourself to record a live record?
Challenges, I mean, first of all, you have to be tight. Secondly, there's no room for mistakes. I mean, that's perhaps the challenges, but the good part is that you can characterize the song so much more playing them live compared to like layering tracks like you do in the studio. It gets a little bit like in the studio you get a little bit too much of a perfectionist perhaps sometimes, that you tend to lose some character with the songs by recording them the way you record songs simply. And also, you know, that when you record a song in the studio, you might even like write the song at the same time. It might not even be done when you record it. I mean, you finish it as you record it. So that makes you also a little bit more focused on being tight, singing tune rather than put like a character to the song. When you finish the song, and especially when you play the song 400 times already, you can put so much more like character into the song, and that's a thing from the positive side, I think, from what you can do and your ability to do things with songs in a live context.
When you listen to this record now, it perhaps takes you back to those days, back in the day when you were able to tour and being on the road and play live shows. What are the things about the road life that you used to hate and now you would love to be able to experience it again as soon as possible?
Early morning flights. No, I'm kidding. I'm still hating it. carrying heavy equipment when it's cold outside. No, I still don't miss that. No, I don't know. I still hate all the bad things about it. No, I don't. But overall, it's a good lifestyle, you know. Yeah, just miss being out there with all the friends and all the good times and all the friends, both in every city that we play, but also like people that we tour with. So that's probably one thing that I miss: playing music, hang out with people, see new things, see new sights. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Last question I have for you is, this album is kind of a nice little hold me over until the next full-length record. But when can fans expect a follow-up to Zenith?
This year. We have a lot of stuff done actually. So we're just looking for a release date so we can start like map out the recording sessions. Like everything's pretty much like, there's a lot of things that are like at the demo stage in a very specific, almost complete way. So we are aiming to release the first, at least one or a couple of songs before June. So hopefully we can ride the momentum of this live record a little bit to ramp up a little bit before a new release.
So basically fans can look forward to 2 releases this year from the band, the live album and then the follow-up to Zenith.
Of course, yes.
Double 100%. Double whammy of Enforcer in 2021.
Huh?
You get 2 doses of Enforcer in 2021.
Oh yeah.
Just like the COVID vaccine, you get 2 shots.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Olof. Thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed this live record. I really think you guys have a really incredibly sounding record on your hands. And I think fans are going to gravitate to that because I think you're going to get the 2 sides of the band. You're going to get the live side of the band because it's there, the energy is there, but you're also going to get the quality that you guys always put together on studio recordings. So you're going to get a little bit of both. It's a very interesting record, and I had a pleasure listening to it. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for listening to it, and thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Take care. All the best.
You too. Bye.
Bye.